The morning I found my workshop door ajar, my stomach twisted into a knot. That workshop was my haven, a cluttered shrine of tools, wood shavings, and half-finished furniture, where I'd poured my heart into crafting pieces that carried my late grandfather's legacy. He'd taught me to carve, to sand, to see stories in every grain of oak. So when I stepped inside and saw my prized projecta cherrywood dining table, months in the making smashed to splinters, my blood ran cold. Tools were strewn across the floor, my chisels bent, and the air reeked of spray paint. This wasn't theft. This was desecration. I stood frozen, my pulse hammering, as the reality sank in. That table was more than wood. It was a promise to Grandpa, a testament to the craft he'd passed down. I scanned the wreckage, my eyes catching a crude tag scrawled in red paint on the wall, "Stay in line." My mind raced to one named Ethan, the teenage son of Monica, our neighborhood's self-appointed overlord and HOA president. She ruled our quiet cul-de-sac with an iron grip, her clipboard a scepter, her fines a guillotine. I grabbed my phone, ready to call the cops, when I heard a familiar cackle from the street. I stormed outside, my boots crunching gravel, and there was Ethan, leaning against my fence, tossing a spray can between his hands like a trophy. His buddies, a pack of sneering kids, lounged nearby. "What's wrong, Ben?" Ethan drawled, his smirk sharp as a blade. "Didn't like our redecorating?" My keys, the ones to the workshop with the tiny hammer fob, dangled from his finger. Rage surged, hot and primal, but I clenched my fists. Ethan was untouchable, or so he thought, backed by his mother's reign. "You broke into my workshop," I said, my voice a low growl. "You destroyed my work." He shrugged. "Door was practically open, man. We just had some fun." His friends laughed, and he tossed me the keys. "Get a better lock." I caught them, the metal biting into my palm. Every instinct screamed to lunge, but I knew better. Monica would spin it, paint me as the aggressor. I forced a breath, my lungs burning. "Where's the table now?" I asked, each word deliberate. Ethan grinned, pointing down the street. "Oh, it's around. Might need a broom, though." They sauntered off, laughing, leaving me with my keys and a fire in my chest. I found the table's remains in an alley, a pile of splintered wood dumped like garbage, spray paint streaking its surface. My heart sank, but the sight of that vandalism, that deliberate cruelty, turned my anger to ice. They thought they could break me and walk away. They were about to learn who they'd crossed. Monica's house was a fortress of suburban perfection, complete with a "home sweet home" sign that mocked her tyranny. I rang the bell, and she answered, her smile as brittle as glass, a pin tucked behind her ear like she was mid-audit. "Your son broke into my workshop," I said, voice flat. "He destroyed a table I'd been building for months." Her smile didn't waver. "Oh, Ethan? Just boys being boys, Ben. You really should secure your property better." The audacity hit like a punch. "He committed a crime, Monica." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't raise your voice at me. If there's damage, send me the bill. Now, I have a meeting." She shut the door, leaving me on her pristine porch, my resolve hardening. This wasn't about a bill. This was war. I called the police, who took my statement and surveyed the wreckage with grim shakes of their heads. I knew Monica would dodge accountability, her influence a shield. That table wasn't just a project. It was Grandpa's dream, started in his own workshop decades ago. He'd carve late into the night, teaching me patience, precision, and pride. When he passed, I inherited his tools and his unfinished designs, vowing to keep his craft alive. My friend Sarah, a practical accountant, had called the table a pipe dream. "Buy something new, Ben," she'd said. "It's not worth the time." But it wasn't about time, it was about honor. Now, Monica and Ethan had spit on that. Our neighborhood had been a haven until Monica took over the HOA. She weaponized rules, fining people for minor infractions, a mailbox slightly askew, a shrub too wild. I'd crossed her once, questioning a dubious maintenance fee hike at a meeting. Her glare could have cut glass, and she'd snapped, "If you don't like it, Ben, move." The room stayed silent, neighbors too cowed to speak. I dropped it, but the memory lingered. Ethan's attack wasn't random. It was Monica's warning, delivered through her son, to keep me in check. Then came the HOA's next move, a letter, crisp and official, fining me $250 for unauthorized storage of hazardous materials and $75 for debris on public property, the table's remnants, which I'd cleaned up. The gall was breathtaking. They destroyed my work, then punished me for it. Sarah read the letter, her jaw tight. This is absurd. Fight it at the next meeting. Show them the evidence. I gathered photos of the wreckage, a repair estimate that stung, and a police report, ready to face Monica's kangaroo court. At the meeting, she sat like a queen, flanked by her minions, Ellen and Paul, her treasurer husband. I presented my case, calm but firm, laying out the destruction, the threat painted on my wall. Monica didn't blink. The fines stand, she said coldly. Your personal disputes don't concern the HOA. She banged her gavel, and the neighbors looked away, spineless. I left, humiliated but burning with purpose. I turned to the HOA's records, poring over bylaws and budgets late into the night. I found anomalies, a 40% jump in groundskeeping costs, a vague community upgrade expense. Then, a breakthrough. After finding a slashed tire on my truck, Ethan's handiwork, I was sure installed security cameras. One night, they caught a black SUV pulling up near Monica's house. Paul, her husband, met a man in the shadows, exchanging an envelope for a small package. My pulse quickened. I zoomed in on the SUV's logo, Prime Groundskeeping, the HOA's contractor. The budget spikes, the clandestine deal reeked of corruption. Digging deeper, I found a social media post from the contractor's wife, showing Monica and Paul on a yacht with them, captioned, "Best clients ever." It was too cozy for coincidence. I went to neighbors, quietly collecting their stories. Mrs. Carter's fine for her non-compliant garden, Mr. Reed's for his unsightly fence promising anonymity to protect them. My plan wasn't a slow-burn lawsuit. It was a public execution of Monica's reign. I crafted a packet. Page 1 exposed the kickbacks with budget screenshots and the yacht photo. Page 2 listed neighbors' fines. Page 3 detailed Ethan's vandalism, tying it to Monica's orders to silence me. Using a burner phone, I texted every resident about an urgent meeting and alerted local news, pitching a suburban scandal they couldn't resist. The meeting night crackled with tension. The community hall was packed, neighbors clutching my packets, their murmurs turning to outrage. Reporters lurked, cameras poised. Monica marched in with Paul and Ethan, her smile smug, ready to crush dissent. But she froze, seeing the crowd and the media. I stepped forward, voice clear. This HOA serves Monica's family, not us. You hold proof of her fraud and cruelty. She screamed lies, tearing a packet apart, but the tide was turning. Then Mr. Walsh, a nervous retiree, stood, clutching the packet like a lifeline. I saw Ethan that night, he said, voice shaking but firm. He said Monica told him to wreck Ben's table to teach him a lesson for questioning her budget. The room ignited. Then, Ethan's friend Tyler stepped up, pale but resolute. It's true. Ethan said his mom wanted Ben scared off. We thought it was a joke, but he did it. Monica's composure shattered, her face a mask of panic. Reporters surged, demanding answers about the kickbacks. Paul looked faint. Ethan was sobbing. Neighbors rose, shouting their grievances, waving packets like war banners. Monica tried to flee, but the crowd blocked her, a silent wall of defiance. Then, police interread me final play, tipped off about a disturbance. A reporter handed them a packet, and the officer's gaze locked on Monica. You three, come with us, he said. As they were let out, the hall roared with cheers. Months later, Monica got 3 years in prison, Paul lost his CPA license, and Ethan got probation. The HOA was dismantled, replaced by a transparent council. Recovered funds paid for my workshop's restoration. I rebuilt the table, each stroke of the plane a reclaiming of Grandpa's legacy. One evening, Sarah stopped by with coffee, eyeing the polished cherry wood. Law or revenge? She asked. I traced the table's grain, smiling. I used the law to carve out my revenge. And it feels damn good.